up on Valley View News. The United Auto Workers Union has agreed to a deal following a months-long strike. What it means next. Plus, aid is being sent to Mexico as Hurricane Otis caused catastrophic damage in the country's southern coast. And this Halloween weekend, Five Nights at Freddy's is making a scare at the box office. We tell you how the movie is performing. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Leah Villalpando.
And I'm Daniel Herrera.
After a 2-day manhunt, the man accused of killing 18 people in Lewiston, Maine, was found dead last Friday evening. The shooter, Robert Card, was discovered inside a box trailer in an overflow parking lot of a recycling center, where he was recently fired from. Maine's Governor Janet Mills said she, like many others, was breathing a sigh of relief knowing Card is no longer a threat. The shootings happened Wednesday night at a local bowling alley and later at a bar and grill. The ages of those killed range from 14 to 76 and include a boy who was bowling with his father, members of the local deaf community, and several fathers leaving behind young children.
The shooting rocked the Maine community, and people gathered in a nearby town of Lisbon Saturday evening for a vigil. It was the first time the community had the opportunity to gather since the shelter-in-place order was lifted. Those affected are speaking out about the shooting, including Keela Smith, the girlfriend of a victim who survived.
A lot of emotions, it's all of it. You know, it's sadness, it's happiness, I'm mostly grateful because of, that he's still here.
Leroy Walker, whose son died while trying to save others, says hating the shooter won't bring back his son.
There's something that went wrong, and I just can't hate him.
Just heartbreaking. The funeral arrangements have not been announced.
Don't feel safe driving in Long Beach? Well, start by slowing down. The city is reducing the speed limit in some areas. Valley View News' Alex Perez says the city council recently implemented some new rules to make you feel more secure.
Next time you plan to drive to the city of Long Beach, pump those brakes. The Long Beach City Council approved the reduction in the city's speed limits back in December, but is now officially in effect.
I feel like I will be one of those people that will drive the speed limit that they want.
In general, it's just like more traffic. I'm the type of person, I commute to get to I live outside of Long Beach. I live in Lakewood.
But the city's website says not so fast. 111 street segments will have reduced speeds. That's 92 miles. In a statement, Long Beach Mayor Rex Richardson saying, quote, not only will these changes encourage more walking and bicycling, reduce noise, and enrich our neighborhoods and business districts, but these speed limit reductions can help save lives. More than half of the miles that are facing change will now have limits of 20 miles per hour or less. Long Beach residents say they have mixed feelings about the situation.
In residential areas, I think that's actually a better idea because that's the common spots where a lot of people are, driving their cars a lot faster.
So I have to commute here every single day, and if the speed limits are too low, I'm not getting to work fast enough, and then I got to leave a little earlier.
I think around the schools that could be beneficial because, of course, the kids.
A city spokesperson sending me this statement reading part, our department continues to work with Public Works and other city partners to ensure all residents and visitors of our city drive at a safe speed and adhere to the posted speed limits. He says it could take many drivers a few weeks to adjust. The average speed limit in California in residential areas is 25 miles per hour, but here in Long Beach you'll see them at 20 miles per hour, sometimes even following the 15. From Long Beach, California, I'm Alex Perez for Valley View News.
Alex, thank you. The Los Angeles Police Department headquarters YouTube channel is back on the platform. The department announced on X its channel was temporarily suspended after posting a video showing a violent attack. The video showed graphic images in which two men attacked another man in Venice, depicting the argument and moment where the man was kicked in the head and knocked unconscious by a pair of bolt cutters. Both suspects then left the area on their bicycles. The department explained the video's intent was only to ask the public for help in identifying the suspects. They appealed the suspension and were initially denied. The channel is now back on the platform.
Detectives are investigating the death of 2 children and the hospitalization of 2 others. Lancaster Sheriff deputies responded to East Avenue J2 over the weekend after a 911 caller said children were being harmed at the location. Deputies found 4 children under the age of 10 suffering from lacerations to their bodies. The children were immediately transported to the hospital, where 2 of them were pronounced dead. Officials say the children's biological father, Prospero Serna, was taken into custody as a person of interest.
Dangerous Santa Ana winds made for some wildfire concerns. Red flag warnings and high wind warnings have been issued in Southern California, specifically for Los Angeles and Ventura counties, with winds that could reach over 60 miles per hour. Fire risks also extended to other parts of SoCal, with Southern California Edison considering cutting power to LA, Ventura, Orange, Kern, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. The fire weather and warnings started last Saturday.
The California Department of Food and Agriculture will be dropping millions of insects in Los Angeles. But don't be afraid, it's for a good reason. Earlier this month, officials had to quarantine 69 miles of Metro LA after they found invasive Mediterranean fruit flies at a home in Leimert Park. To stop the invasion, officials plan to drop sterile male fruit flies in the area for at least 6 months. Officials say the male fruit flies will mate with the females and over time reduce the population. The areas affected include parts of downtown and South LA, Hyde Park, Baldwin Hills, Culver City, Inglewood, Pico Robertson, and Mid-Wilshire.
A new law allowing California cities to ban artificial grass is generating a controversial debate about the state's water usage. Valley View News' Tashi Rios explains why many argue banning turf isn't the best idea.
When it comes to climate change, we drastically need to reduce our water uses.
Reaction to Governor Gavin Newsom, who has signed a new bill allowing cities and counties to ban artificial grass in California. The governor blaming health concerns linked with so-called forever chemicals that researchers say have been connected to diseases such as cancer and neurological impairments. The decision sparking a heated debate over the popular option for property owners to deal with droughts and water cutbacks.
So if we actually stop watering our yards, that's a huge footprint of our residential water use.
Ganguly says turf not only is better for budgets, but for the environment as well.
It's so much more complicated in terms of the visual beauty of it than just grass. And so it seems like you could use a lot less water and actually create a much more astonishingly beautiful yard.
Some athletes are saying that playing on turf just like this is not preferred and natural grass is a better alternative.
In one way, the natural has always been better for me to play on. I don't really like the synthetic one, and I would like for them to install natural grass.
Athletes like Castillo are urging for natural grass to replace turf because the surface is harder, leads to more injuries, and overall difficult.
You cut up yourself a lot in the synthetic and it burns. In the natural, it's less likely for that to happen. Your shoes get hot and everything gets difficult.
Just like asphalt, turf heats up when athletes play. Some California cities have already been banning fake grass. In a statement to Cal Matters, president of the Synthetic Turf Council says they are committed to ensuring their products contain no intentionally added PFSAs. Reporting from Los Angeles, California, I'm Tashi Rios.
Thank you, Tashi. In other news, Mike Pence is calling it quits on the run for the Republican presidential nomination. The former vice president announced on Saturday he was dropping out of the race after his campaign struggled to raise money and traction in the polls.
Now, I'm leaving this campaign, but let me promise you, I will never leave the fight for conservative values, and I will never stop fighting to elect principled Republican leaders to every office in the land. So help me God.
Typically, a former vice president would be seen as a good challenger in any primary, but this wasn't the case. Following his loss in the 2020 election, former President Trump became convinced Pence had the power to overturn the results. When Pence rejected the scheme, he drew Trump's fury, angered many supporters, and lost much of the support of the Republican Party. Pence didn't endorse any of his rivals following the announcement.
Many pharmaceutical staff across the country have now walked off the job. Pharmacy staff from different drugstores, including Walgreens, say their working conditions are unsafe. Staff are fighting against a lack of pay, constantly being short-staffed, and facing higher work expectations. The walkout began on Monday and should continue through Wednesday, including California and Texas. Some employees of pharmacy companies hope that the walkout show everyone why they might take longer than usual when waiting for medication.
Auto workers are one step closer to returning to work. Union leaders with the United Auto Workers Union say there's a tentative deal in place to end the months-long strike. Now, the deal still has to be approved and ratified before it could take effect. This would bring workers back to the assembly line sometime in November. The deals would come days after General Motors workers expanded their strike by walking out of a company factory in Tennessee.
Southern California students joined others across the country to walk out in solidarity with Palestinians as the war between Israel and Hamas approached its third week. Dozens rallied outside of the federal courthouse in Santa Ana. Parents, instructors, and students ranging in age from elementary to college were among the attendees. Event speakers demanded a ceasefire in Gaza and end to military backing for Israel.
More to come on Valley View News. Governor Gavin Newsom met with China's president, the topics that were discussed during the governor's controversial trip overseas. And Taylor Swift releases her newest Taylor's Version album. We'll share the details after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
I am so glad you ladies are here. You each have your own rooms.
Thank you.
Good.
Is it okay to call you Mom?
Of course you can.
What are you doing in there? What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Welcome back. Let's travel to news overseas. Warren Lopez is in our digital media center with the latest international updates. Warren?
We begin with the latest updates on the Israel-Hamas war, as Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced the war entered a second phase. The nation's ground forces will continue to enter the Gaza Strip and expand their attacks from the sea, sky, and ground. Netanyahu says as the conflict intensifies, the nation will strive to succeed.
Fight for the homeland and we won't withdraw. We are going to fight on the ground, at sea and in the air. We will destroy our enemy above and below the ground. We are going to fight and win.
He also says he intends to destroy Hamas power and bring hostages back home. Israel cut communications for Gaza's 2.3 million people while also targeting many bunkers and tunnels. In response to the attacks, pro-Palestinian demonstrators around the world call for a ceasefire as the country expands its ground operation. London, Istanbul, Baghdad, and Rome are some of the few major cities that saw its streets filled with rallies. Reuters reports London police estimate about 50 to 70,000 people marching, while organizers say it was hundreds of thousands. President of Turkey called the attacks on Gaza are at oppressive and barbaric levels. Similar scenes occurred in Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq, Yemen, and the West Bank as they called against the Israeli government's actions. Closer to home, Hurricane Otis continues to devastate the Mexican city of Acapulco, but not all hope is lost. Officials announced supplies will move in and plans to evacuate the city's population of 1 million are underway. Cell phone service returned to some areas, while residents received help from family and friends in both Mexico and the U.S. through posters and online groups. Many houses remain without electricity, and even basic resources like food and toilet paper are out of stock in grocery stores. California Governor Gavin Newsom traveled to China and met with President Xi Jinping, and their meeting could strengthen ties between the U.S. and China. The California governor and the Chinese president have mutual agreements in terms of combating climate change. Prior to the meeting, the two nations had high tensions that led to export controls on both sides. But to Newsom, the strained relations may thaw as their climate conversations opened the door to other topics, such as fentanyl exports, the Israel-Hamas war, and forced labor in Xinjiang. That's the very latest from the Digital Media Center. I'm Warren Lopez. Back to you in the studio.
Warren, thank you. In the business world, Uber has now partnered with the self-driving car company Waymo. Phoenix is the first city where people can have access to autonomous cars, but the price is currently the same as an Uber ride with a driver. If a ride is requested in Waymo's operating range, people may be automatically paired with the car, but can choose to accept or deny the ride. And if customers know they want to test the self-driving car, they're able to update their preference in the app. There is no word yet on when the feature will expand to other cities.
Best Buy is recalling almost 1 million Insignia multifunction pressure cookers and inner pots nationwide after reports of multiple burn injuries. The company received 31 incident reports, including some second-degree and severe burns. The device has wrong volume markings on the pots that are causing users to overfill them. Because of it, extra hot foods and liquids pour out. The pressure cookers have been sold since October 2017. Best Buy is not providing any refunds or replacements, but rather replacement kits that can only be received by registering online.
A pizzeria that has brought more than delicious pies to the Bakersfield community is set to close its doors forever. Valley View News' Daniel Herrera has more on a restaurant owner who is saying goodbye to his creation and his customers.
Owning a business can make you a lot of dough, but all good things must come to an end. Cubby's Chicago-style pizza owner Jim Reed says it was time to put a chapter in his life to rest.
It's just time. It's just time. We've done what we wanted to do, and it's time to move on.
He says the plan is to shut down December 1st, but is in the talks with buyers of the restaurant that may lead to a new pizzeria.
15 years of memories, genuine interactions, and lots of marinara will forever hold a place in business owner Jim Reed's heart. But what sparked that interest in opening a pizzeria?
When I was 18 working for Domino's Pizza, I thought, well, this is the best job on earth. I enjoyed that a lot. And I delivered for a while and then became a manager and managed pretty much all of the Domino's Pizzas here in Bakersfield.
An employee of Cubby says Reed always puts his customers first. The restaurant previously held a fundraiser event for kids with cancer and sponsored organizations such as Relay for Life and Alzheimer's Association.
I'm actually really sad that Cubby's is closing. I'm gonna miss my coworkers just because we became friends really quickly.
Chicago-style pizza can be a hard find. One longtime customer and friend of Reed says the closing of the restaurant is unfortunate.
I'm sad that they are closing. I've actually known Jim for a while, and so I think Cubby's has been a great part of Bakersfield and being able to, share pizza with people, and, I wish him the best.
In Bakersfield, I'm Daniel Herrera, Valley View News.
Reed is thankful for the past 15-year journey. In other news, oil and gas company BP has agreed to buy $100 million worth of Tesla vehicle chargers. It is the first time the car company made a sale of its kind to another company. BP will install the 250 kilowatt chargers in 2024 and will brand them with its own Post logo to be a part of its charging network. The chargers can energize vehicles with the choice of the CCS port or Tesla's own NACS port. Traveler Centers of America, Thorntons, and Amoco will have locations that store the chargers along with third-party locations such as Hertz. As of now, BP controls 27,000 charging points and plans to expand soon.
The iconic Cup Noodles brand just announced a Slur Prize. Because of a new cup design, cup noodles will be microwavable for the first time in 50 years. Instead of having to add boiling water to the meal, the well-known instant noodle brand is set to replace its phone cups with paper ones in the near future. The new cup will be made with 40% recycled fiber, and plastic wrap will no longer be needed, making the new packaging eco and microwave-friendly starting in early 2024.
I used to microwave them when I was younger, and my parents would get me in trouble for it.
I know, so it's kind of cool that now we have like a safe way to do it and that it's also eco-friendly. That's super cool.
All right. When we come back, the World Series continues between the Rangers and Diamondbacks highlights next. Also, the USC-Cal football game was delayed this Saturday due to a protest. We'll tell you what happened when we come back. Stay with us.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back. Actor Matthew Perry has died at the age of 54. Authorities say Perry was found unresponsive in a hot tub at his home in Los Angeles on Saturday. Although the cause of death has not been revealed, investigators say drugs were not found at the scene. The LA Times is reporting that prescription medications were recovered at his home and will be a part of the investigation. The actor was best known for his role as Chandler Bing on the NBC sitcom Friends.
I mean, I could write slogans. I mean, how hard could it be, right? Cheese. It's milk that you chew. Crackers, because your cheese needs a buddy.
Warner Brothers Television Group says Perry was an incredibly gifted actor and an indelible part of Warner Brothers. The impact of his comedic genius was felt around the world, and his legacy will live on in the hearts of many.
Disney has pulled an upcoming film starring Jonathan Majors as he's scheduled for trial next month. Majors is accused of assaulting and harassing his ex-girlfriend. The film Magazine Dreams was supposed to be released on December 8th, with Majors playing a bodybuilder. The movie was acquired by Searchlight after premiering at the Sundance this year. Not only was he expected to star in this film, but in two of the upcoming Marvel projects portraying the next main villain. It's unclear what Disney will do in the future, and the trial begins November 29th.
Hello? It only took a few nights for Universal and Blumhouse's Five Nights at Freddy's to make record-breaking numbers. The horror film made a whopping $78 million over the weekend. Despite the motion picture debuting on sister streaming service Peacock, it hit theaters Friday, making $39.5 million at the box office. Freddy and his gang were able to slash Ghostface's return as they overtook Scream 6 as the biggest horror opening of 2023 to date. It is now part of the second biggest opening of all time for video game adaptation, second to the Super Mario Bros. Movie. It doesn't stop there. The movie opened to an estimated $52.6 million overseas, and the audience rated it with an A cinema score.
Taylor Swift is back with reclaiming another album, What's It This Time? 1989 Taylor's version. The album includes 5 unreleased or vault songs plus a re-record of her collaboration with Kendrick Lamar for their Bad Blood remix. During her LA show for the Eras Tour in August, Swift announced the album's release and claimed it was her favorite re-record. The original album was released in 2014 and is known as her transition to pop songs. Swift began to re-record her first 6 albums back in 2019 when music manager Scooter Braun brought the rights to her master recordings. 1989 Taylor's version is already Spotify's most streamed album in the year.
You could count me as one of those streams because I listened to that album multiple times this weekend.
I never really listened to Taylor Swift, but I'm definitely going to check it out.
That's super cool. Saturday's football game between USC and Cal was delayed after the coin toss. A group of 15 people rushed to the field at Memorial Stadium in Berkeley and sat in the middle of the field. All 15 people were arrested. 13 of them are believed to be students at Cal. They were protesting the school's suspension of a UC Berkeley professor, and it was a nonviolent protest.
In the Battle of the Baddest, heavyweight boxing champion Tyson Fury defeated former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou. It came via a controversial split decision in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Ngannou was able to score a knockdown in the 3rd round by landing a left hook, dropping Fury to the canvas, but fell short on 2 of the judges' scorecards. One judge scored a 95-94 in favor of Ngannou, while the other scored the same for Fury. The final judge's scorecard read 96-93, declaring the heavyweight champion still undefeated.
The Arizona Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers continue to go back and forth in the World Series. Game 1 ended in dramatic fashion, with Corey Seager of the Rangers hitting a walk-off home run in the 11th inning. And Game 2 was an Arizona blowout as the Diamondbacks kept their bats hot, winning 9-1. Rookie right-hander Brandon Pfaadt got the start in Game 3 for the Backs, and 3-time Cy Young Award winner Max Scherzer started at the mound for the Rangers. The Rangers are looking to take this best-of-7 series to win their first-ever franchise World Series, while the Cinderella story Diamondbacks look to win their first since 2001.
On to Spanish soccer. Jude Bellingham, Real Madrid's top scorer, scored twice in the second half to help the team come back and win 2-1 against rivals Barcelona in a thrilling La Liga match on Saturday. After coming from Borussia Dortmund, the 20-year-old Englishman has scored 13 goals and provided 3 assists in 13 appearances across all competitions. Bellingham capitalized on the 2 opportunities he had in the second half, and Barca paid the price for not turning their superiority into additional goals.
How many bucks would you bet that one would interrupt your meal? A Wisconsin restaurant known as Noodle & Company caught a deer on surveillance footage charging into their crowded restaurant. A spokesperson for the store says the animal explored the dining area and kitchen before leaving through the back door, which was opened by an employee. She says no one was harmed, and a deep clean was done before the location reopened. Noodle & Company offered a $2 mac and cheese special to memorialize the incident. I think that's crazy. Imagine like a deer just coming in the middle of your meal.
Yeah, I wonder if the deer had to pay for his meal.
That's all for us at Valley View News. I'm Leah Villalpando.
And I'm Daniel Herrera. For stories any time of the day, see our YouTube channel at Valley View News and our Instagram page at Valley View News CSUN. Thanks for watching.